Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, a member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Go to podbros.com, check out some of the other podcasts you might like, and don't forget to go to bigjujitsu.com. If you're going to buy something from Amazon, click the banner at the top, help us out, or even buy a t-shirt. We still have those now. So I'm Rob the Lord Humongous, and as usual, I'm joined by the man who writes our articles, who wrangles in all the social media, who puts up funny pictures all the time, Jonathan Hale. How's it going, Jonathan?
How's it going? Going good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, it's another day. We actually have a really, not only just special guest, a very deadly guest on the podcast today. I know we're the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, but I think it was time we need to start expanding into other martial arts. And
I agree. I think we need to cover especially the most important ones for sure.
Yeah, and I want to get a perspective from this man. So without further ado, we have Master Ken of Ameri-do-te fame on our show today. So Master Ken, Sensei, thank you for being on the show today.
You're welcome.
Is it all right if I refer to you as Sensei, or do you have another title you'd prefer?
I mean, Sensei sounds kind of like a demotion. I am a master, so.
Okay, well, I apologize, Master Ken. I will refer to you as Master from now on for this whole podcast. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, sorry. Before we get started, how did you come about starting Ameri-do-te? Was it you like just it came to you in a vision, or did you go on like some spiritual quest? Like, how did it come to be?
Well, it started by me studying various other martial arts around the world and realizing and finding that very quickly. Taekwondo, I got to about I guess yellow belt before I figured that out, and then karate, I think I got to purple belt before I figured that out. Kung Fu, all I had to do was look at the sign in the parking lot. I knew that was bullshit, so I just took a picture of the sign and drove away. So after studying all those arts, I realized that they were all incomplete, so I decided to take the pieces that I had learned from all of them and turn them into something. Something unbeatable, something unstoppable, something totally complete. So that's why Ameri-do-te takes the best parts of every other martial art in the world with none of the weaknesses, and that's why our motto is best of all, worst of none.
That's like a really interesting thing to do. Didn't Bruce Lee try something like that with his Jeet Kune Do, or what's your take on that?
Not really, because he, if you read his book, which is not a very good book, honestly, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, it's like a notebook. It's like somebody who was a student and took down a bunch of random notes and didn't bother to organize them. There's no real curriculum with Jeet Kune Do. And it's plus he was a little guy. I mean, I'm sure that some of his stuff worked as long as he stayed in his weight class. But if he was to come at me, I fight at 220. So unless he had some friends or a tank, I don't think he would have done very well against me at his prime.
So you think that so you know for a fact that you could take just about anybody from any art, right? Since you've studied everything you can, right?
Yeah, well, and because we don't mess around. We don't mess around. We don't do this sport crap. We get a lot of flack for that too, for not being a sport martial art, for not having any rules or regulations. Ameri-do-te is made up mostly of what other people consider illegal techniques. There's more sports regulation violations in 1 hour of Ameri-do-te training than there is in Lance Armstrong's blood. There's so many things that violate, and I can't, I can't deal with these sport arts like jiu-jitsu, for instance. I mean, most of the goal seems to be just inappropriate hugging.
Well, I got to stop you there, Master Ken. Like, all due respect to your art, but there is more to jiu-jitsu than just the sport aspect. Like, it is a self-defense system as well. That's what it was originally intended for.
I mean, sure, as long as you get attacked at a tournament with a referee standing by to say, "Oh, hang on, you can't attack him like that," you know. And there's too much there's too much of that, you know. And with I'm just not going to roll around on the ground like that without sticking my finger in somebody's eye, you know. What happened? What happened to real self defense? If jiu-jitsu is so realistic, where's the biting? I don't see any biting ever. There's like virtually no biting. Back in the day, half of our curriculum was biting, and then various diseases and things sort of stopped that. So we had to make a rule that you had to bite above the navel, just to keep anything from spreading. But there's not enough of that. Not enough eye gouging. Not enough throat ripping. I hardly ever see anybody grab the groin in a jiu-jitsu fight. So I don't understand how you equate that with real street fighting.
Well, I mean, more or less just trying to keep yourself safe. And that's what I see it as. As you think you've seen a lot of street fights, and I know that you're very experienced in it as well, but you've never had anybody just grab onto you when you're trying to protect yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't have the mentality of like, oh, my job is to keep myself safe. You got to have the mentality of, oh man, now I got to rip this guy's groin out.
Like it's a chore almost.
Yeah, it's like, I had stuff to do today, and now I'm going to have to explain this to the cops, or if you're going to stick around that long, or oh man, now this guy's wife or his mother or whoever's standing next to him is going to keep screaming, because of all the blood. Things that it's an annoyance. It's mostly a hindrance to me. If I'm being attacked by less than 10 people, it's more of an annoyance.
Just because it's not even a challenge to you at that point, is it? Just like you said, it's almost like you have to take the trash out type thing.
Right, and that's the product of being so effective as a martial artist. If you're not being attacked by at least 10 people, then it is a bother. And if you think you can't handle a situation like that, there must be something wrong with your art.
So the rumor has it that Helio Gracie actually asked you for some advice on when he was developing jiu-jitsu. Did you not want to help him with that?
Well, I considered it, and then I looked it up and saw that he had some losses on his record.
Right.
So I take issue with that. I don't want to. If somebody already can't win a fight on their own, it's hard for me to help them develop an art. And again, the main problem with all of that is any techniques I give these people, they reject them. They say, "What happens if somebody puts you in a bear hug?" And I say, scoop their eyeball out and stick it in their mouth. And they say, "Well, we can't do that." I say, "Well, that's the end of the conversation then."
So what you're looking at then is not so much a can't attitude. It's more like a won't. Like, you won't do that to protect yourself. That seems to be an issue.
I mean, look at it however you want. I think that if other martial artists would just get with the program and treat every single conflict like life or death, like there are no rules, like it's a real street combat situation, and act accordingly, we'd have people who could really defend themselves in the street. But what they end up doing is a bunch of drills and rehearsals and choreography. I mean, they might as well take a ballet class, because they're most of them spend their time dancing around doing moves that are designed to keep everybody safe. Ameri-do-te is not designed to keep everybody safe. If you do Ameri-do-te and you're not getting injured, you're not doing it right.
I can see that. You gotta go all out.
It sounds like it sounds pretty effective, and I've really thought about training in Ameri-do-te, and I really liked your rendition on Javi Vasquez's move there with your gas chamber. What made you develop that?
Well, as it happens with many, just there was a sale at Costco on baked beans, so I'll say I had overpurchased a bit. I had overpurchased.
Well, it's Costco. You need to. It's like savings,
Yeah, I mean, you have to buy 6 gallons in order to get the deal. So after eating what my proctologist later described as a potentially lethal amount of beans, my system just got backed up, and I was showing a technique, and the things just sort of opened up, and we had a bit of a gas incident, and I knocked out 4 students just with the smell. So I thought, I thought again, I can use this. I can use this somehow. Same thing with the hurricane. I mean, when I developed the technique of fighting off multiple attackers, I mean that idea came to me after my first seizure.
So it comes out of necessity, just kind of like it showed up, and if it works, it works. That's what I've heard. If it works, it's not wrong.
Right. You sneeze and accidentally headbutt somebody in the nose, and you think, I should do that again.
Yeah, true. So, my brother-in-law, huge fan of yours, as is my sister. They're both martial arts instructors out in Cary. They teach Taekwondo, and he loves the thrust of freedom kata. So, could you give a little backstory of how that came to you?
Yeah. Well, I had gotten in a fight with a bricklayer, and he kept throwing bricks at me, and so I was punching through them, right? And after a couple dozen of them, I broke my hands, because I do conditioning, but there's a limit to how many bricks you can punch in a day, and so I needed to use another part of my body. And, realized that my hips were pretty powerful. There's a lot of muscle down there. I don't know if you ever have just sort of sat around and felt your hips.
Usually on the weekends, but that's about it.
Yeah. If you just sort of explore your hips, you'll notice if you really squeeze down there, you'll feel there's a lot of muscle. And so I just decided to sort of tighten that muscle up and start throwing it forward. And once I made contact a couple dozen times, the guy didn't want to fight anymore. Jesus. And I think you'll find that. I think you'll find if you get in close quarter combat, that's something you can use in jiu-jitsu too. So you end up in somebody's guard, and you just start thrusting. They don't. A lot of times they'll stand right up. They'll create distance between you and them. And especially if you end up in a north-south kind of a position, if you do a thrust of freedom in a north-south, manage to line your hips up with their noggin, thrust their head into the ground a couple of times, they don't want to fight. No, so it's really meant for that purpose. That's sort of the idea, and it's another one of those techniques that if it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right, because the groin is a sensitive area, but it can also be used as a weapon.
That's true. So my question is then, you say guard, and you say people don't want to fight. If you do the the multiple thrusts while you're in somebody's guard, is it possible to hold a person's legs so that they have to stay there while you're attacking them with this thrust?
Well, it depends on how powerful your thrust is.
I don't know. I'd say maybe like a 6 out of 10. I'd like to think. I do a lot of hip rotations.
Did you come up with that number, or did somebody assign that number to you? I think generally it's not good to judge your own thrust. I think it's good to have a partner judge your thrust for you, because they can be more impartial.
That's true.
Who
would you say would be a good qualifier for that then? Because I just don't want to grab some random person and just start thrusting. I want to make sure they're qualified to give me that good 10-point scale there as to where my thrust is.
No, it's probably somebody who would resist.
Okay.
I think that's the key, is to thrust somebody who don't want to be thrust.
So it would be better to just find that random person. That way they're
Yeah,
not
if it's a
prepared.
friend, because again, if it's a friend, if it's somebody that likes you, they're going to patronize. They'll patronize you. They'll tell you you're thrusting at a 7.5 when really you're more like a 3.
Just because they want to be nice to you, they don't want to hurt your
Yeah,
feelings.
they don't want to. They don't want to. There's always this big concern in martial arts not to hurt people's black belt feelings.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too, and that's very unfortunate. So, with the thrust of freedom kata versus the 100 ways to attack the groin, which one do you think would win out in your opinion?
Which one would win out between what?
So, if you practice the 100 ways to attack the groin, right?
I mean, there's more than 100. Just FYI, it's just that's all we could fit in the video.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize then. So, is the thrust of freedom a good counter to groin attacks, or what do you think?
No,
I need your expert opinion on this because
it's all in the same category. It's all in the same category. It's Ameri-do-te is very what we say groin heavy,
right.
very groin heavy. We use it as a target. We use it as a weapon. We're generally always trying to find a way to get to the groin. So as long as we get there, that's the point. There's really no wrong way to attack the groin as long as it hurts. There's more than 100 ways. So it's just about how you get there.
Very good.
So, and your advice, because Ameri-do-te is not everywhere yet, like Jiu-Jitsu and Taekwondo and stuff like that. What would you say is the second best martial art?
I don't really understand the question.
So,
what would you suggest for someone that can't get to you, or do you think that just somebody just drop everything and come see you and just say,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of like asking me what my alternative would be to oxygen. Like if I couldn't breathe oxygen, is there a second thing I'd like to breathe? Yeah, if I had to choose, I would breathe water, but I'd still drown. You know what I mean? So it's basically there's what we do, and then there's bullshit, and so you can call it whatever you want. Taekwondo, you can call it Kempo, you can call it Jiu-Jitsu. You can call it Krav Maga. That's my biggest pet peeve right now is that Krav Maga bullshit. You can get certified as an instructor in Krav Maga in 10 days. You know that?
Really?
I didn't know that.
There are now 10-day long instructor programs that will certify you as qualified to teach Krav Maga. Just to put some perspective on that, it takes 2 weeks to get training to be a security guard at Walmart.
Wow. So my brother-in-law, Mark, just got certified to instruct Krav Maga. Could you give him some advice?
Oh, that's great. How is he enjoying his second week as a martial artist?
I think he likes it. I think he likes it a lot.
I bet it's very fun. I bet he thinks the world of it. He's going to love it right up until the point he gets his ass kicked.
So he needs to drop everything and come train with you then.
I mean, only if he wants to win. If he just kind of wants to walk around with a Krav Maga shirt on and well, with the patches that they wear, like a bunch of Girl Scouts, and wearing their sneakers and doing carjacking scenarios with rubber guns. I mean, yeah, if he's content with playing around with that, then have him keep that up. If he wants to be prepared for real life combat, he's got to come to Ameri-do-te.
So do you do seminars for the military? Because I'd love to get you out here and teach them how to.
I've done some stuff at what do they call it in Germany, K-Town.
Yeah, Kaiserslautern.
Yeah. I've done some stuff out there for the troops. Always happy to do that kind of stuff. In fact, my only concern ever about teaching the military is unleashing that kind of power. You know what I mean? I don't want to scorch the earth because we got to live here. You know what I mean?
No, I
so
get you.
if we were to make Ameri-do-te the official military martial art, I mean, it would just cause so much destruction. So I have to release it in just little short pieces, just to make sure that we don't just go and destroy all of our enemies too quickly, put everybody out of a job, and just leave a mess.
Yeah,
Well, the Gracies picked up 32 combatives for the military. And
Yeah, no,
for
I
them
saw
to
that.
use. How many would you say that they really need? You think that's too many, or do you think that's not enough? Or
I mean, again, that's like saying, should I eat 16 rocks or should I eat 32 rocks? They're all gonna clog up your system. You know what I mean?
right.
right?
And they're
So
they're not they're not going
in
to nurture you.
Ameri-do-te,
You're
I
not
mean,
going to get nutrients from it. You know what I mean? So like, it's just like, should I learn 32 ways to clap my hands, or should I learn 32 techniques that are actually applicable in self-defense?
I'd say that I like your way of thinking. I like that.
Yeah, well,
You're correct. So I have some tournaments coming up. What do I need to do to win? Besides, I can't get to you right now just because of limitations on work and stuff. If you can give me some pieces of advice, because it's a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I know we discussed that it's not going to get me ready for any sort of real-life scenario, at all. What do I need to do to get ready for this tournament, though? What would you suggest? I want to be on my game. I need to be ready to go.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. You could carry a knife. You could, what I notice, a lot of the defenses leave so many things open that nobody goes for. I always see people doing these complicated defenses of a side headlock. You end up in a side headlock on the bottom. I don't see people reaching up and ripping out the throat. When it comes to being on the bottom of the mounted position, I don't ever see a groin rip. I don't ever see anybody just reaching into somebody's pants and just grabbing their testicles and just ripping them off. I don't ever see that. And I know it works. When it comes to the groin, I don't see, I just the other day, I was doing some groundwork with Todd, and he put me in his guard, and I pinned his biceps to the ground, kind of like I'm about to do a standard guard pass.
Right.
And then I just threw my knee into his anus hole, really hard, really hard, just kneeing him in the anus as hard as I could a couple of times. Most guys, can only take a couple of those. Some guys, for some reason, can take way more of that punishment. I don't know why. But the thing is, if you knee somebody right in their anus hole as hard as you can multiple times, they're gonna let go of the guarded position. So I just don't see enough of that. Hair pulling, biting, spitting, spit at somebody. Try that. Somebody wants to get right up in your grill. Somebody's got you inside control. Spit in their face. It gets them. It distracts them. It distracts them long enough for you to fish hook their mouth. You put a finger in their mouth and just rip that part of their cheek open. Because if you get a couple of fingers in their mouth, you can either pull really hard and rip the cheek open, or you can just jam your fingers into their throat, way, way down there, really, really deep.
Yeah, you're trying to make them puke, almost?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, And if they don't puke, just leave them in there, because they can't. It's hard for them to breathe when you do that. So there's a million things you can do that, to me, are so elementary, and that I don't see them in tournaments. And you may find yourself disqualified, but you'll also have the satisfaction of knowing that you won that fight.
Oh, very easily. Because, in my opinion, though, it's because one of the rules is if you make a noise that sounds like you're in pain, that's a verbal tap.
Exactly. That's a win. That's a win.
So, well, I know what I need to work on. Absolutely. Because I have class tonight. I'm going to teach class. So I think I'm going to try this out on one of my students and see how it goes.
Yeah, just try not to pick a whiner, I've done that to certain students, thinking they'll appreciate the lesson, and they do things like complain on Yelp or go to the police, and it's just when they do stuff like that, it's kind of a hassle.
Yeah, but they signed a waiver though, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, and they absolutely. It's not that generally you're not liable. It's just a hassle. It's just a hassle.
Oh, like the whole damage control thing for the company you run and the school you run. So
yeah, it's just a whole category. I call it sissy management, and it's something that I don't like putting a lot of time into.
No, it's understandable. I mean, you got a business to run, you got people to teach, so you don't want to spend that extra time dealing with people who don't want to learn.
Yeah, if I wanted to listen to a bunch of bitching, I'd open a hair salon.
Have you ever thought about doing that? Maybe just like a side job.
If I had the time,
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to put in the time for anything else. I'm spending so much time in the dojo. I consider my dojo to be a laboratory of violence. I'm always experimenting. I'm this mad scientist creating all these incredible ways of self-defense. I have a master's degree in mutilation. I have a doctorate in destruction. But as a side job, I also do have an associate's degree in massage therapy.
Oh wow, that's actually
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
awesome.
It's impressive, very impressive.
Yeah.
So what's your plans for an affiliation program? You got me, and I'm sure a whole bunch of people convinced. Is there chances that you're going to have other schools around the world?
Yeah, what I'm kind of developing is is an affiliation program, a certification you can get with a sticker that you can put on your window or somewhere in your office so that people know you're for real, and it will come with a booklet with a basic Ameri-do-te curriculum, just the base level, kind of like the Gracie Combatives. Only our stuff is effective, and then just basically you'll take that. And as long as you're teaching, as long as you're incorporating the Ameri-do-te basic curriculum, then you can be an affiliate.
How long does that take to successfully complete the Ameri-do-te program to black belt?
To black belt, that's a whole nother. We don't know because I'm the only one. I mean, that's how long it's taken. Yeah, there's literally I am the only black belt in Ameri-do-te, and that's taken most of my life. So if you're, that's kind of saying you want to be a black belt in Ameri-do-te, you have a better chance being president of the United States. You might as well try to be an astronaut, like starting right now. But if you want to become basically proficient in street self-defense, base level Ameri-do-te, that is attainable. It's important for inferior martial artists to pick attainable goals. When they say that they love Ameri-do-te, I get happy for them. When they say they want to be like me, I feel a little sad because that's just never going to happen.
No, you can't raise their expectations just to snatch the rug out from underneath them. You got to give them realistic goals, like you said.
Right. That's like saying you want to that's like saying you want to travel to Jupiter. It's a nice idea. It's just not going to happen.
I hear you. So, in order for me to get at least proficient, or at least I know that I cannot be like you, Master Ken, and that's okay, because the world, I think, there can only be one Master Ken, in my opinion. What is a typical day like for you, though, for training? Like, what do you do? And like, I just want to get an insight into the mind of the man that has created such a complete martial arts system.
Oh well, I wake up. I've set my alarm as kind of a booby trap. When my alarm goes off, it sets off various things on pulleys and knives and sticks and things that I have to wake up and dodge. I do wear a helmet just in case I screw up, but most of the time I manage to duck everything. I just start my day with the sense that I'm always in danger. That's the important thing, is you have to live your life every second as if you're in danger of being killed. And that's the mentality I take through the day. Then I have some coffee. And I'll stretch out. And then I just start conditioning, do a lot of conditioning drills. I condition my hands primarily from the fingers out. A lot of people condition the knuckles, but we do a lot of ripping and poking. So I jam my fingers into things. I jam my fingers any place, like tight spaces, resistant materials. I got a sandbox out back. I'll just jam my fingers in sand for half an hour. I'll jam my fingers into some melons just to sort of get those strong. I'm also always promoting my art through the YouTube channel, trying to get people to be aware of our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, Enter the Dojo Show. teaching people the power of Ameri-do-te around the world.
Absolutely love it too.
Yeah, doing things like that. Running, we have a small kids class that we do called Better Bullying. We have the Better Bullying program because we in Ameri-do-te we believe that bullying isn't really the problem. You just have to make sure that the right kids are being bullied. So we actually turn bullying into a positive thing, and we use it. We sort of create a little Ameri-do-te gang, to help keep the kids safe. We teach them the positive aspects of bullying, like strength in numbers, how to recognize weakness in others, shifting blame is very important, things like that. There's various seminars. We have. I've been hearing on the internets that piracy is a big deal. A lot of problems with internet piracy. I've never met an internet pirate, but I want people to be prepared. So, we teach you how to defend against a pirate, how to defend against a hook punch, how to fight somebody that wears an eye patch, how to fight somebody on a ship, which generally the rule is just to stay on the shore. So there's lots of techniques. There's lots of ways, but every day is focused on training. Every day is focused on training. Every day is focused on determination and keeping the world safe with Ameri-do-te.
Are there
That's
any?
amazing.
Do you take any days off though?
I mean, do you? I don't understand. Do you take days off from yourself? Like, do you take days off from being yourselves?
Well, no.
I don't.
I mean, like maybe training. Like, do you ever take a break so your body can rest? Like rest is good. It helps your muscles heal.
I don't really believe that. I think that every day that you're not training is a day you're falling behind. I think that this chronic muscle pain that I've had for many, many years, doctors have tried to convince me it's because I don't take days off, but I just say, pain is just weakness leaving the body. And then my doctor says, no, that pain is from damage you're doing to your muscles and joints. And then I just repeat myself. We sometimes will do that for an hour. I'll just go in and say, pain is weakness leaving the body. And he's all like, no, Master Ken, you have serious problems with your health, and we're concerned for you. And I just say it again. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. Sometimes I'll record myself saying it because my voice will go hoarse after an hour. So I'll record it like before I go in and just play it on a loop. And every time he tries to tell me something that he thinks is like about my health or my body, I'll just play it louder. I change doctors often. They don't usually put up with that more than a couple of times.
Well, I mean, let's look at the facts though. You're still training, and they're just doctors.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I think I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to get into it now. Okay.
Yeah, how many people have they defended from a knife attack? I mean, being the guy that sews them up afterwards and supposedly saves their life or whatever doesn't mean that they know how that person could have avoided the knife attack in the first place.
So they're more. Actually, you would think that they'd be more inclined to not want people to be able to defend themselves so they could have more business.
Right. I'm trying to send them customers.
Yeah, and they just don't want you to do it. So I think that's kind of selfish on their part.
Yeah, I think most of my doctors have been pretty selfish.
But none of them have come in to train with you, though. So that's it's a downfall for them. So
yeah, I even invite them, and they say they don't want to, and they give all these reasons. They make up excuses like I don't like you, or whatever. And I'll just say you're just afraid. You're afraid of the training is too intense, and they say things like, "No, I genuinely don't like you, and I don't want to train with you." And I'll say, "I get what you're doing. I get what you're doing. I know you're trying to save face." I let them.
you know what I'm saying?
proud.
Yeah, true. So how big? How many students do you have now? Do you see a lot of turnaround with it? Because I know there's a whole big thing. Because we're a jiu-jitsu podcast. We talk about jiu-jitsu for everybody. And I know we haven't really talked about your students. Do you see a lot of turnaround with your students? Like, is Ameri-do-te for everybody, or
I see them. We do all kind of drills where we turn around. We do some spinning kicks that require them to turn around. We'll do. There are drills, that blocking drills. Where someone comes at you and you have to turn around in order to throw a backward hammer fist or something. Yeah, there's lots of turnaround. I think turning around is good, depending on how you do it and what techniques you're throwing.
That's perfect. Perfect answer. Master Cam, before we finish up our podcast today, could you point us in a direction of where we can find all of your information so that those of us who want to pursue this, pursue Ameri-do-te, where can we find you?
Check out the YouTube channel first and foremost. It's youtube.com/Enter the Dojo Show. We also have a website, enterthedojoshow.com. You can follow me on Facebook is our most active social platform. That's facebook.com/MasterAmeriCen, spelled Ken at the end. But really, if you just Google Master Ken and Ameri-do-te, all the right stuff will come up. Watch our videos, subscribe, check out our stuff, follow it, like it, comment, share, and you'll be on your way to becoming street lethal, a street lethal killing machine.
Well, hopefully nobody has to use it, but it'd be good for them to know. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
well, sure. I guess. I mean, you got to use something to get good at it, right?
Well, true, yeah. But have you ever had any students go to jail over it, or have you ever had to deal with any messes, like help hide a body or anything like that?
I'm not.
I don't think you should answer that question.
I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, legally, my lawyer said I can't answer questions like that anymore.
Okay, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to put you in such a weird position with that. So, but actually, that does bring me one more thing. One perfect tip I need from you, because I know you've had to deal with this before. Best way to get blood out of your gi. I'm not saying anything illegal or dealing with people disappearing. I mean, just in general, because like you said, if you're not getting injured, you're not training.
Right. Well, your problem there is trying to get the blood out in the first place. My uniform that I wear on the show, that I'm sure you've seen, that used to be white.
Wow.
So the key is to just fight until the whole thing is red, and then you don't got to worry about it. Then it doesn't show anymore.
Well, I never thought of it that way. Probably should.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you're a genius.
Well, I've heard that before, and I'm not going to disagree.
Awesome. Well, Master Ken, really do appreciate you coming on the show today and helping enlighten us on what real martial arts is. And also, I really do appreciate you helping me out on my jiu-jitsu game on how to win.
Yeah, let me know how that goes. Pull out some of those techniques, and I would recommend if you have the one phone call from jail, just call me up. I'm not going to bail you out because I have stuff to do. But if I would prefer to hear about it right away if you pull off an eye gouge or a groin rip.
I definitely will. I'll look for it at this tournament.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, Jonathan, you got anything for Master Ken before we head out?
No, that's it. I feel like I'm on overload now. It's so much information at once.
Yeah, I'm used to people being in awe. I tend to leave a lot of interviews in silence.
Amazing.
No, you're definitely something we need in the martial arts community, and I thank you for everything you've done. So, everybody needs to go check out Ameri-do-te, check out Enter the Dojo, check out Master Ken's page, like he had said, and don't forget to go to bigjujitsu.com. Check out all of our cool t-shirts and patches as well. Not as cool as Master Ken stuff, but we're trying our best. So I'm Rob the Lord Humongous, and we will catch you all next week.